Okay, so one of the huge advantages of shooting and uploading videos to YouTube on my DIY 5-story multi-generational passive ICF house is the awesome comments that I get down in the comments section below. And it ends up saving me a lot of time and a lot of money because I will start off doing something that will work, but it isn't necessarily the best way to do it. And somebody will mention in the comment section, hey, why didn't you think about just using foam? So here's my challenge, my dilemma, and that is I've got my foam roof panels that you can see right there, and they're sitting on top of my 3 inches of foam, and then there is my concrete ICF blocks. Well, there's obviously a gap in that spot. So what I was doing before was I was hauling up these bags of concrete, and I was finishing it off and doing the concrete underneath that gap. And while that worked, that's a lot of work in terms of hauling up those 80-pound bags of concrete in the water and mixing and troweling, et cetera, et cetera. So somebody said, hey, why don't you just go get yourself a whole bunch of cans of foam? And the PSI on the foam is actually, this stuff is actually stronger per square inch than my EPS foam that the roof is sitting on. And so I thought, hey, you know what? You're absolutely right. So I ordered myself a case of this stuff. I've just installed my first, probably 30 feet with one can, and it went awesome. It went perfect. So I definitely will be doing the rest of the roof with the foam, filling in the gap right there. So if anyone else runs into this same issue where you are creating, in essence, what I have is a Yeti cooler lid. It's a warm roof, and for those of you who don't know, I have my I've got my 8-inch concrete walls, 2.5 inches of foam on the outside, 2.5 inches of foam on the inside, and then I'm putting on a warm roof, which is in essence a Yeti cooler. So underneath this 3 inches of foam, actually, you can see it over here. Let's take a quick little tour. You can admire the sunset while I'm getting over there. So what I've got is I have my TGIs. My TGIs sit on top of a glue lam beam. On this other side, they go into an adjustable Simpson hanger. So that Simpson hanger is actually attached to a ledger board, which is attached to the ICF by what's called a Berman hanger. And then, so I've got my TGI, they're just 1-foot joists. And then I have 3 inches of EPS foam. You can see how it kind of sits down inside of my ICF, kind of like a Yeti cooler lid. And then on top of that, I have my 5.5 inch structural foam panels. And then, but it ended up not fitting perfectly in terms of, I always wanted to have these foam panels go across the top of the ICF. This I wanted to sit down a little bit lower, but it's fine, it's working. The challenge was either to use concrete or foam. I highly recommend going with foam to fill in the gap. And then what's going to go on top of the roof is I'm actually hopefully here soon going to be getting some zip roof sheathing. So it's the 5/8 inch zip roof sheathing. And the reason why is because, as you can see, this is a pretty flat roof, or I should say it's a low slope roof. So it goes down about 1/2 inch per foot. And I'm actually going to be doing a double mechanically seamed standing seam roof with butyl tape in between. And so because that's pushing the boundaries of what you can actually do with a mechanically seamed standing seam metal roof, then I need to have it be like dead flat. So I need to be able to shim it just a little bit in terms of the zip roof sheathing. And so it's a lot harder to shim, especially because I would be shimming it on top of this foam, and that just doesn't work. Whereas these structural panels, I'll be able to shim off of those as I put down my zip roof sheathing. And then once I get done putting the zip tape So that's going to be like an additional air barrier. Once I get done with that, then over here you can see I've got my Shark Skin Ultra SA. So the Shark Skin Ultra SA will actually go on top of the zip roof sheathing. And then on top of the Shark Skin Ultra SA is when I'll finally be able to put my standing seam metal roof. And one of the reasons for it is because this is a multi-generational, it's a 1,000-year home. So I want to put on a roof that's going to last for quite a while. And the standing seam metal should last for about 50 years. The other reason why is because I don't want to have any penetrations in my roof. And I plan on having 20 kW of solar panels on this side, and then because I do have the solar panels, I want to make sure that I get maximum efficiency, which means that I'll need to come up here on a regular basis to clean those. I'm thinking every night that there's a beautiful sunset like this one in the morning, when there's a beautiful sunrise coming up, I'll need to get up here on this roof and clean these solar panels. I mean, the views are spectacular, you gotta admit. So anyways, because by going with the mechanically seamed metal roof, then you're able to actually get clips that make it so that you can put your solar panels on without having a gazillion penetrations like they usually do on these other roofs that you can see around here. So that is kind of the plan for how I'm going to be doing this low slope standing seam metal roof with solar panels. And I think that's about it. So that's all the details. Anyways, highly recommend going the foam route. It's a lot easier to carry up a can of foam than it is to carry up an 80-pound bag of concrete. So be sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.